How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant. I hope everybody's doing great. Hope Christmas is going off to a good start and not like some madness that it usually is. We're all just losing our minds, but get sipping on the eggnog early if that's the case. Add a little SoCo, some whiskey, bourbon, whatever your taste is. You should try it a little bit. Just don't drive, please. That's a given. Anyways, so if you haven't checked out our Iron Claw review or review of The Iron Claw, definitely check that out. One of my favorite movies of the year. And Bern and I will shortly in the next few days be doing our top 10 picks of 2023. So keep an eye out for that. We are talking about the very last DCEU movie, which is the current state of DC affairs before James Gunn's movies start in, I believe, 2025. And that is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, or Aquaman 2, if you want to think about it that way. Electric Boogaloo. And this is a non-spoiler review as well, so please do not forget to give us a like, ring the bell, and of course subscribe. We really appreciate it, and we love you guys, so thank you so much. So this one takes place obviously after the first one, sometime after, because Aquaman has a son, him and Mira are ruling Atlantis, and he's trying to struggle with that until Black Manta comes back, and he's trying to basically just literally scorch the earth, both Aquaman's world and also just the world in general. So that's when he has to enlist his help of his brother Orm, aka Patrick Wilson from the first one, the Ocean Master, to help out and save the world. And so like I said, so not only is Jason Momoa back as Aquaman, Patrick Wilson as Ocean Master. What's the guy that plays Black Manta's? What's that guy's name again? It was
Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Thank you. I haven't seen him in anything in a while, actually. I think the last thing I saw him in was Candyman, and that was it. I haven't really seen him in anything much lately. I probably missed something, but anyways.
That's a good point. He's been in a good amount of stuff, but yeah, the only thing that's coming to mind is Candyman and the first Aquaman.
But that was already a few years ago, so it's like I hope he's getting roles, or maybe he's busy with life. I don't know, but anyways, we also Nicole Kidman come back, Tamora Morrison, Randall Park from the first one. He was at the very end, and that is pretty much it I could think of for now. So, and again, it's kind of a bittersweet thing with this movie because, yeah, it's the end of an era. When DC started with Man of Steel in 2013, which crazy to believe that's already 10 years ago. And I just remember being in college thinking like, oh, they're doing another Superman movie. Cool. Let's see how this goes. And it took me a year or two, a couple rewatches to really appreciate that movie and what it was. So thanks to also Bern, because he was the one who made me rewatch it and dissected it for me. So it was very informative. And for it to end like this is just a bummer. That's why I'm very bummed, because this movie was just okay. Not horrible, but not good by any means. So just okay. That's all I can say. Bern, what did you think about this movie?
Yeah, this was very interesting because it's like one of those where I don't really have a lot to say about it, And maybe out through the course of this review, there might be a lot more to say about it. As of right now, it's just one of those, like, I don't know, like it's kind of what you expect, if you've from what we've gotten from these DC movies, from what we've gotten from the Aquaman movies, and kind of what we've gotten from comic book movies as of late, just something that's very standard, paint by numbers. The plot is very razor thin. It's just kind of a series of events leading up to like a big battle at the end. The villain wants to kill the good guy because of reasons, and the good guy has to, go get a MacGuffin to stop the bad guy, So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it feels like it could have been written by an AI, Everyone all thinking about like, that's going to be like a horrible thing to come and why the strikes happen. And we get movies like this where it feels like it's already been done. But yeah, it's just kind of like one of those things where it's just okay, like you mentioned, there wasn't any moments that I hated. There are some pretty fun elements in it, like the first movie. I still think James Wan is not really the right fit for these types of movies. His horror movies are pretty cool, there's some that I like, there's some that I don't like, but he does have a very distinctive visual flair, and I just think they don't always work for these comic book movies. Not to say that there aren't elements that work. There are certainly some points in this movie and in the first one I'm like, okay, that was a pretty cool idea. But overall, it's just kind of like, you can tell like he's not really taking this seriously, and I can admire that like on one end, but at another end, I'm just like, I kind of want more from these movies now. It's with the fact that we've gotten so many of them now, we kind of can't just get those that are just come out and are just mildly entertaining and leave. Like, if this year has proven anything, is that won't work anymore, and people will not go watch your movie unless you give them a really good reason to. And this one just unfortunately didn't for me. Jason Momoa is cool, as Aquaman. He's fine. His relationship with Patrick Wilson in the movie was my favorite element of it, but everything outside of that was just kind of I don't know. I just turned my brain off and just try to enjoy it for what it was, and even then, it was kind of a struggle.
Yeah, I was falling asleep given it was late, but it was just one of those things I'm like, I am not digging this, because yeah, it was very serviceable. And at this point for superhero cinema, that's just not good enough, because the fatigue is real. Anyone who says, oh, it's not true and stuff, it's like when they keep pumping out movies just for the sake of pumping out these movies, yes, it becomes true because no one wants to watch them. Especially with DC ending, is like, why would I want to go see this then when we're just going to get a reboot in a couple years? Which is a very valid point. I'm not saying anyone should go see this movie. I definitely don't recommend it for theaters, or at least a very cheap day, like $5 Tuesday, or wait till it streams where it's cheap. That's totally fine. And it's no offense to Jason Momoa, James Wan, Patrick Wilson. This is just one of those things, like you said, Bern. I don't think superhero stuff is James Wan's genre at all. I do appreciate him trying for 2 movies, because first one wasn't bad, but it's almost they just don't work as good. They're not a high caliber of superhero movies. Let's just say it that way. Jason Momoa is fun. He's always fun to watch, and I like that he tries to have fun with these characters, but just not feeling the vibe for that. Patrick Wilson, he's solid in it for the most part. It was weird kind of having Amber Heard with all the stuff happening in recent years. I'm not going to go too deep into those sticks, but it's just kind of weird to see her in that one. And yeah, like I said, with all that being said, I'm giving this movie a 2 out of 5, because while it does have some neat character design, some cool moments, and again, there's very interesting creatures and stuff like that, it just wasn't enough to really warrant, make me want to go see this again. I didn't even want to go see this to begin with, but this is a movie I'm like, you know what? We got to watch this. We got to talk about it. And it just makes me definitely think, the sweet part of this is I'm glad this era of DC's done with. Because while we did have Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman vs. Superman, The Ultimate Cut, Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, what have you, it's just the bad outweighs the good in this franchise. So it's done now. We're cutting loose with that. So long live James Gunn's DC. Hopefully that takes off.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it can be any worse than when we're gone. But hey, I've been surprised before, so fingers crossed there. But yeah. I mean, this movie is definitely the most 2 out of 5 movie I could probably think of. Like you mentioned, the characters can be fun. The action, there's some fun sequences there. Visually, this movie does feel like a step down from the first one. I don't know what you felt about it, but I don't know. I don't know if it just didn't look as good as the first one, or maybe Avatar: The Way of Water just completely ruined VFX, and in particular underwater VFX for me for the rest of time. Because in this one, I thought, man, this just doesn't look as good as I thought it did.
You're not wrong, Bernie. No, there are definitely some effects. And after we've just had Godzilla -1 with a fraction of the budget, I'm sure, for a movie like this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what is going on? Come on, guys. But yeah, Avatar 2, definitely. If you're going to do a movie about any sort of water environment, how can you beat Avatar? That's a real question you got to ask yourself.
Yeah, so even then, that doesn't give this movie an edge at all. So yeah, I mean, just if you're gonna go in, like Rice said, maybe on a cheap day, if you're just looking for some mindless fun, this is definitely it. But yeah, I'm just kind of expecting a little bit more now from these movies, and this one just wasn't quite the one you want to end like an era on. So that's a bit unfortunate. But all due respect to all the creatives involved, it's not like they wanted to put out a bad movie, and I'm sure all the trouble behind the scenes, definitely did not help. So hopefully there's just smoother sailing for everyone involved here in their future projects, and they can walk away from this one and more often than not, or more likely than not, people won't remember this one anyway. So they'll be able to have a little bit of a clean break and get to do whatever they want to do after this. But yeah, if you got nothing else better to do, maybe go check it out on a cheap day. If not, you're not really missing much.
That's very fair, Bernie, and I do agree with you on that. So, for those of you who managed to catch this movie, for whatever reason have you, what did you think of it? Are we tripping and we're just hating it for the sake of hating it because it's cool, or and you actually loved it, or do you agree with us and this movie's a bit of a dumpster fire? We'd love to know in the comments to keep that going, because yeah, I don't want to go into a movie thinking it's going to be bad, but from the marketing, all the rumors and the reshoots and stuff, and the way the final product, it's like, yeah, this movie was cursed, and that curse won. So that's all I could say. But until next time, everyone. You guys have yourselves a great holiday season. We'll see you all in 2024 soon. And stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us, both the end of 2023 and 2024.
Exactly. Good. Yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself. But yeah, until then, everybody, stay bodacious, keep on ranting like he said, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.